Hello there, fellow cheapskates. Today's episode of Steven Inks, I'll be talking about setups. Setup being everything you need to create with fountain pens. So that would be pen, paper, and ink. I'm going to give my ideal setup for the budget conscious, the penny pinchers, the fellow frugal in my viewership. I myself like to save some money from time to time, so I want to show you the best budget options I found for all of these things. We're going to make some art with it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like these particular products. In the future, I'm going to do a few more videos on this series for all the different aspects of my personality with pens, and probably a few of you out there as well. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's get started right away.
Let's start off with a bang and recommend the pen. I recommend the Pilot Kakuno. The Kakuno is a fantastic pen for beginners, not only because of its price. When I bought mine, it was less than 10 US dollars. The nib is quite fun, as you can see its little cute emblem. It also is a really reliable writer, has a nice super extra fine point nib. The Japanese extra fines are the best in the entire fountain pen industry, and Pilot's is quite a wet writer, which is unusual when you compare it to other Japanese extra fines like Platinum or Sailor. So it's a great one to start out with, and it's really easy to find. It has some different colors besides this clear one that I have, which is also known as a demonstrator. And even people with more experience with fountain pens tend to find that this one is a favorite. The video that I have where I go into detail on this pen has more than 25,000 views, so clearly it's a very popular pen, and with good reason. There are two converters that you can buy for this pen separately. The Con 70 does fit inside of this pen, which is unusual because a lot of Pilot pens actually can't take that converter. I personally don't find the Con 70 to be super wonderful. I much prefer the Con 40, even though that has its issues too. Converters for this pen can be had for pretty cheap. The thing that I really like about the Pilot Kakuno is what it feels like to write with one. It's hard to describe unless you've tried it. It's just very consistent, very smooth lines that feel like they don't drag too hard across tough paper. And if you're budget conscious, you'll probably have some paper that's not always the best. So it's good to have something that's smooth and won't bleed through your paper if you have thinner paper that you're working with. And for the ink, let's get into what I recommend here. I think you should go with an inexpensive brand. Diamine makes these great little tiny bottles. And you can see that this bottle is just barely big enough to even fit the pen inside of it, but it's quite nice, and there's lots of different colors to choose from, and they're, like I said, not very expensive. And for paper, I think you should just go to your local art supply store, or even your local store like a Walmart or a Target, not sponsored at all, but just get a sketchbook, just a regular old sketchbook. That can work fine with the right kind of pen and the right kind of ink. And the Diamine inks are pretty consistent, and the Kakuno, the Pilot Kakuno, is also a very consistent pen that can work on all different kinds of paper. This particular sketchbook that I have, somewhat thick paper, I think it's about 150 GSM. I bought it at Michael's, a craft supply store in the United States. You can see I've gone through about 4 of these in the last several years. It's a lot of pages, but I use it all the time. I use it with very expensive pens and with cheaper pens. I find that you tend to use cheaper notebooks more readily, or at least I do, than the more expensive ones. So why not have a simple, cheap notebook that you can just kind of knock back and draw a bunch of stuff in? Because that's how you improve at your drawing, and that's how you get comfortable with your materials, is by just getting your work in and doing lots of drawings. So that's why I recommend this type of paper. Okay, let's use all three of these things together in a drawing. So obviously there's a pencil that's being used here in addition to the three supplies that I mentioned, but not much else. And clearly this is just a regular old pencil. Sometimes, just a little bit about this drawing, sometimes I feel like I fall far behind regular people. I'm struggling when it comes to some things, like getting things done, like figuring myself out, my moods, all those things we've talked about on this channel before. And sometimes the worst thing about struggling is when people notice you. And so I had this idea of a snail trying to cross that finish line and just trying to get through without being noticed. I hope you're all doing well out there. That's kind of all I'm going to say about this drawing, and I hope you enjoy it. The pen, obviously, you can see all the way through. Just a really nice, smooth writer, really consistent with the lines. I was able to do everything I wanted to do. It seems also like just if you see the paper, it doesn't bleed through at all, even though it is kind of a wet writer, like I said, and the nib is quite sharp. It doesn't cut or tear through the paper. The Pilot Kakuno is a fantastic pen for all types of paper, including the cheap ones, which honestly on this channel I use this type of paper more than any of the other more expensive papers that I own. So I think that the cheapskate version of this setups video series is mostly for me. There's something that happens after about 45 seconds or so, right towards the end of this drawing. I actually had to refill my pen because I took a long break in between starting and finishing this drawing, and when I did, I couldn't find the diamine green ink. So the last few lines, and it's honestly not that much of the drawing, but you'll probably notice, are a different color, which is color versus somnium, kind of mixed with the diamine Sherwood green. Just another example of use what's around you. That's what us fellow cheapskates do. So hope that's not too distracting when it happens. It hasn't quite happened yet. I think it's about to happen right now. Yeah, with the color change. But yeah, this was a really fun drawing to do. I think that most of my artwork focuses on not too expensive supplies, but we'll be talking about some other setups with other types of, for other fountain pen types out there. So please let me know your type in the comments. Who are you, or what kind of pen collector are you, and how can I recommend you something? All right, thanks everybody.
Final thoughts? I think probably we all have our favorite budget pen, and it may not be the same one that I picked. Feel free to put in the comments what you like to use, particularly in the $10, $10 US dollars and under range, if you happen to have a pick at that price. There are a lot of great ones in that range, and having to pick one, I think that the Pilot Kakuno is both very unique and very well beloved and quite easy to find no matter where you are in the world. So those are some of the many reasons why I picked that pen. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and also let me know what's the next setup that I should recommend for perfectionists, for DIYers, for expressive artists, urban sketchers. We're going to go through as many of these as I can with what I have on hand. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Please check out my other videos, like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I will catch you in the next video.